Hello and welcome. Today we are going to do crazy and cringy Limerent Reddit stories. This is not professional advice and this is a safe space. We're just scouring the Reddit rabbit holes. Let's get to it. So I kind of broke this down in 3 parts. This first part is going to be about the inner delusion, the magical thinking, and the emotional fantasies that people create. What are some of the crazy, cringy stories? Starting with homemade dynamite. Not minding when I got COVID a couple months ago after learning that he was the one who gave it to me. And also learning he didn't get anyone else sick because I caught it while we were hanging out at my place and he wears a mask at work. I feel like the two of us were exclusive enough to both get sick with it at the same time. The delusions, lol. Also, he lent me a textbook and I low-key considered keeping some of his hairs I found wedged in between some of the pages, but thankfully stopped myself. Coming in hot. This is from One Ate Your Mom for Lunch. So funny. One of the things that made me limerent was how connected I felt to him. I could feel in my body when he was thinking about me. It was kind of crazy. Have you had that? But then it kind of stopped. I think because he wanted to cut me out. Now I want to do this emoji. Isn't that interesting that when you're in the thick of limerence, you really feel like you're connected internally? What Kenobi? I've tried to learn astral projection to communicate with a LO who hated me from my bed. This comes from the user Need a Big Break. I believed that he was waiting for me to text him Happy Valentine's Day. How many of you guys thought that one? Thumbs up. Now, this comes from a deleted user. She used to put a playlist on her Spotify regularly. One was named Angel in Disguise. I thought she put that one up for me. Speaking through music. Long, lanky tip. Mainly that he was pining away from me for years, was celibate because we couldn't be together, and I was his phantom ex. Found out later he was in a relationship with multiple women that time. He just didn't showcase it or plaster it on social media. I still convinced myself that those relationships didn't mean anything. He was just wasting time until we found our way back together. And then in real life, we did find our way back together. But then he went back to one of those other women, lol. So we're kind of seeing this theme of a lot of people feeling like the other person is waiting out on them. Now this comes from user It's512. The weirdest thing, this was a few LOs ago, is I paid a spiritual worker to implant a thought in his mind to get him to call me. I also paid them to tell me what he thought of me telepathically. All rubbish. Okay. This second phase is what I call the research phase. One is kind of stalkerish and about collecting and hoarding things about the yellow. And it could be a little bit triggering for those of you who have been stalked. So I just want to put that out there. This is when that fantasy moves from the mind into the external world, essentially. Starting from J. Sanchez 030. My LO was extremely freaked out when I accidentally let out when I mentioned her street name, when she never told me where she lived. Oh God. She sent me a bunch of her photos and they were showing locations on Apple Maps and found her address that way. I also drove by her house when I'm in the area, but she doesn't know about that. Hey. Ion knows Snow. Paid for a sub site that finds images of people to essentially make sure I had every image and video of them ever posted online anywhere ever. And I have a file in my phone, hidden, that is full of them. Only one of the pics was sent directly to me from my LO. Every other pic and vid I saved from online. What is with this tendency to save things from the LO? To save pictures, conversations, you name it. Comment if you have that tendency. This comes from the user Small Cactus. I have a folder with 500 plus photos that I took of him when he wasn't looking. I haven't found the strength to delete them yet. Representative AC728. I was temporarily rooming with my LO at a hotel, and when she was gone, I took a picture of her Bath and Body Works perfume so I could remember her scent. Not insanely crazy, but still a little bit. I even ended up buying the same perfume for myself. In response, J. Sanchez Z030 says, reminds me of something I did recently. I am scent-driven as well and tried to find her Dior at Sephora, but there were like 12 options and I was getting scent overload and couldn't discern. A worker came to help me and I told her I had no idea, and she asked me for my girlfriend's number and she pulled up her entire purchase history. Wow. I not only bought her scent, but 2 of her other regular makeup purchases. My Elo was so impressed, I knew what type of makeup/perfume she was wearing. There is something about scent that elicits strong memories because it is the last sense that was developed, evolutionarily speaking. I'm pretty sure that scent is connected to the limbic system, which is connected to memories. Now, Anomi G says, nowadays, the internet makes this stuff too easy. I remember the days of having to do my LO research in person. One time, pre-internet, I drove to my LO's town, 1 hour away from me, to go to the library. I asked to see the local high school yearbooks for the years around when his children attended the school and photocopied their school photos to take home with me. I also was able to get the phone book and look up his home address, plus a paper map to find it, and had to handwrite directions from the library to his house, which turned out to be set way far back from the road so I couldn't see anything. It was a rush, particularly because the librarian seemed suspicious and disapproving, but it ultimately felt empty and creepy, as it still does now with the internet stuff. That is the end of the stalkerish hoarding ritual stuff. Do not stalk your LO. If you start to have these kinds of tendencies or fantasies, don't do that. This is very inappropriate. And lastly, we are going to read about the cringy confessions, the emotional outbursts, and the symbolic acts that people take, starting with a violet furry. I've shared this before in a similar thread, but he was a guy I worked with at a retail job who would kind of banter and joke with me a lot. After my last day, I wrote him a long letter telling him how important he is to me, and I can't stand the idea of losing his friendship. Aw. And then actually went to my former job and gave it to him while he was working. He was rightly so uncomfortable, he immediately walked away from me, and I could see him talking to our coworker who was supervising, then physically go to a different location to work that was away from where I was in the store. This was 15 plus years ago, but it makes me feel a little sick when I think about it. Anyone in his shoes would be weirded out by this. It's creepy. Really would not want to be that coworker. Also, like, just based on the reaction, like, there really was no indicator that this person felt that way. And that's kind of the scary thing if you're on the receiving end of limerence. Ashley is alone. I almost got an Elo's name tattooed on me when I knew them for only 2 months. Thank goodness I didn't go through with that. Thumbs up or comment if you've ever tried to get a tattoo of your Elo, because I need to know. I mean, that's one way to keep them forever. Last but not least, 17 throwaway Scorpio says, I try to keep my obsession to a minimum if I can, but the itch to find out more information about my Elo is insatiable. Once research time starts to clash with my responsibilities, then I usually take a break. Over time, my limerence has tapered down a bit. Looking back, my Limerent episodes were wild. I given her so much power, she could have taken advantage of me, but she didn't. She kept her boundary and always remained respectful. She knew I was taken after all. Yeah, I hear that often. She could have taken advantage of me, but she didn't, because she didn't have the same feelings. Probably didn't think of you that way at all. If you're not creeped out, hopefully you at least feel less alone, especially if you're struggling with these particular fantasies and intrusive thoughts. It can reach this level if it hasn't already. And if you are struggling, I recommend seeking out professional help. But in any case, it is important to know that limerence is a powerful and intoxicating. It can be dangerous, and it can be embarrassing when you look back on it. If you liked these Reddit stories and you want to hear more, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time.